I spoke to him a short time ago via broadband link. John Taylor, this is a huge storm that's affecting hundreds of kilometres of coastline. What reports are we already getting about the impact it's having?
Tracy, well, this is the worst cyclone in living memory that's expected to hit a large part of North Queensland, and it's not just one community that's affected, it's basically all of North Queensland that's going to be affected by this cyclone. We're already hearing reports of lashing winds and rain coming through in communities like Innisfail and Townsville. The eye of the cyclone is expected to make landfall tonight at about 11 o'clock between the communities of Innisfail and Cardwell, which are roughly in the middle of the distance between Cairns and Townsville.
And there are evacuation centres set up in all the large areas?
Absolutely. I mean, there's about 10,000 people apparently that are in evacuation centres in North Queensland, in places like Townsville, Innisfail, Cairns, for instance. There's 6,000 alone just in Cairns. I'm actually in an evacuation centre here where there are about 2,000 people that have taken shelter. I mean, this cyclone has to really be seen to be believed in terms of the size of it. I mean, we're hearing from the authorities that when it crosses the coast, it's still not going to be over. It's predicting that it will still be a Category 4 cyclone, which is very destructive, hundreds of kilometres inland. So it's not just coastal communities that are going to be affected. It's places like Charters Towers and other places inland, which normally wouldn't see devastating winds and destructive winds and rain that the coast is used to experiencing.
Do you think people have a pretty good idea of the conditions they're going to face when it's at its worst?
Hard to say. I think they know from experience that cyclones can be devastating. In 2006, Cyclone Larry devastated the community of Innisfail, causing perhaps more than $1 billion worth of damage. So people know just how dangerous they are, and everybody remembers Cyclone Tracy in 1974 and the deaths of about 61 people. So they know what can happen, but this really is the greatest in living memory. Certainly the police are saying that they are disappointed that some residents in communities like Innisfail, Mission Beach, Cardwell defied requests to evacuate and decided to hunker down. Now the police say, in quote, it was a very disappointing choice that was made by some people. Certainly a police station itself was evacuated and closed at Cardwell because of safety concerns, but they still have a police presence and those things. But they're saying, look, we're listening to the advice, we're taking the advice that we should, but some residents have chosen to stay in their homes. Now, as the Premier has also said, it's now too late. They can't go. It's too dangerous for emergency services personnel and for civilians, normal people, to venture out. So they've made their choice. Now they're going to have to live with it.
And the authorities will be taking preventative measures with things like power as the cyclone gets closer?
Absolutely. They're talking about turning off the power. They have been talking about turning it off here in this evacuation centre where I am for safety reasons. But then once the cyclone passes the coast, they are expecting significant infrastructure damage to the power network, to sewerage, to roads, to the telecommunications network. So once the cyclone hits, there's going to be massive disruption, which will affect the ability of the emergency services to respond. But as a police inspector was saying not so long ago on the radio, that their first task is, once the cyclone has passed, is going to be going out again into what they expect will be a very devastated community.
John Taylor, thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you, Tracy.